Hello, everyone. This is Jim Ward, the President and CEO of the Phoenix Symphony. I'm so glad that you're joining us for this call this evening. We're very, very excited about all of the great things going on at the Phoenix Symphony, and certainly always grateful for your commitment and support. And that's why we're very happy this evening to be able to provide this special opportunity to you, for you to hear directly from Tito Muñoz, and also ask him some questions directly. In order to do that, you are going to press *3 on your phone, and you will be dialed into a screener who will put you in a queue in order to ask questions to Tito. Again, that's *3. But I wanted to just say that we are so excited about this week because not only is it the beginning of our season, but it is the inaugural season for our new Virginia G. Piper music director, Tito Muñoz, who is going to be conducting this Friday and Saturday night, and we hope and trust that you will be with us for that as well. Again, if you have any questions for Tito, dial *3, and we'll get to you as soon as we can. But before we do that, I'd like to introduce to you our new Virginia G. Piper music director, Tito Muñoz.
Thanks, Jim, and hello to all of you. I'm very, very excited to be here and be on the phone here with all of you, and looking forward to answering your calls and speaking about the wonderful things the Phoenix Symphony is doing and will be doing this season. So I'm very excited. Thanks a lot.
Tito, maybe I can start off with a question for you,
okay,
if you don't
sure.
mind. Can you talk a little bit about this upcoming season and the formation of that and how that happened and your insight into what the season holds for our patrons?
Absolutely. Well, it's a very exciting season. It was an exciting time planning it because we didn't have a lot of time to do it. So it was a lot of very maybe some impulsive decisions on my part, but I'm really excited about a lot of them. Really great music and great things. We have some great guest conductors. We have a lot of wonderful things, and of course, opening this week with the great, grand Carmina Burana, which is an incredible oratorio with chorus, with soloists, with a full, actually even bigger than usual symphony orchestra, along with a really wonderful piece by Igor Stravinsky, the Firebird Suite, you know, thinking about opening night, I thought it would be a wonderful thing to have everybody on stage, you know, everybody that represents the artistic side of the Phoenix Symphony. So the orchestra, the chorus, and all the singers, you know, just to have a big, wonderful opening night. And I'm also really looking forward to Justice Sandra Day O'Connor. Actually is going to be a special guest on Saturday night, conducting the national anthem at the very, very top of the concert. So that's going to be very exciting, and I'll have some time with her to give her a little conducting lesson. So it should be very exciting opening week. But aside from that, we have some really, really great things. Tchaikovsky's Pathétique Symphony later on in the season. We have Mendelssohn Italian Symphony. We have the second Classics Week, Appalachian Spring, with Amy Dixon, this wonderful saxophone player doing a few concertos, one of which is by John Williams, who I'm sure a lot of you remember from last year, gracing Phoenix with his presence along with Steven Spielberg. So we'll be doing some music of his from Catch Me If You Can. And of course, my predecessor, Michael Christie, will be joining the orchestra as well for two programs, one with the Brahms First Piano Concerto, Beethoven's First Symphony, as well as a program with Sibelius, Grieg, and Nielsen featuring Viviana Cumplido. So really, really exciting stuff. And a personal friend of mine, Misha Santora, who's going to come and do a classics series with the Barber's Cello Concerto. He'll be doing Schumann's Second Symphony, Barber's Cello Concerto, and a piece by Revueltas, a Mexican composer, a film score. And so a really exciting concert there. So there's really a lot of really great things that I'm looking forward to in the season, Jim.
That's great, Tito. And again, for those of you that would like to ask questions, please dial *3, and that'll get you to our screeners. We do have a couple of questions here, so let's start off with Kevin. Kevin, you are now live. Can you ask Tito your question?
Okay, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, Kevin, we can hear you very well.
Oh, good. Yes, the question I had was, I know this coming spring you're going to be doing Queen with the symphony and Led Zeppelin. Had you ever thought of doing symphony with Electric Light Orchestra, or actually seeing if Jeff Lynne, the founder of ELO, would do a project with the symphony with ELO's music?
Oh, that's a possibility. I mean, you know, in our pop season, we're doing a lot of really interesting collaborations, and you know, part of course, what we're thinking about for Symphony 2.0 is finding these wonderful collaborations with popular artists and things like that. I personally have not thought of that, but that's definitely a very, very good idea, and that we'd be happy to explore and see what we can do, because that's something that we really want to do. We want to bring these kinds of collaborations to Phoenix and present the orchestra in a different way with a lot of different artists. So for sure. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that question.
Okay, next we have Mike. Mike, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Mike, we can hear you loud and clear. Thanks for calling.
Good. Thank you as well. We're looking forward to the season. I'm a trombonist from 45 years, and I like to go to the symphony, and occasionally I love to hear the big, low brass get a piece of the action rather than being semi-retirement on the back row. What do you have in this year's agenda that's just going to get me all excited?
Well, our opening concert, of course, Carmina Burana, has, of course, a lot of low brass, a lot of brass in general, and even the Firebird Suite with the Infernal Dance has really, really wonderful brass writing. We also are doing Pathétique, Tchaikovsky 6, which, as you know, has just a lot of wonderful trombone and tuba in several of the movements. We end the season with Mahler's First Symphony. So that's going to be quite big for that sort of thing. So we definitely have quite a few programs with a lot of that meaty low brass section and wonderful players that we have, of course, that are playing them. So thank you for that question. I appreciate that, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mike. We appreciate that. Again, if you have a question for Tito, please dial *3, and that'll get you into the queue here. Next up is Josh. Are you on the line, Josh?
Yes, I am. How you doing, Tito?
How are you, Josh? Thank you for calling.
I am unbelievable. It's a beautiful day. Hey,
yes,
I just was curious, when can we anticipate having a classical guitar concerto on the bill?
Oh, that's a good question, and there are quite a few great concertos actually. For sure, in the coming seasons, I have a feeling we're probably going to have something. I mean, one of my favorite pieces is the Concierto de Aranjuez, the Rodrigo, which is really wonderful concerto, which I just did with Pepe Romero in Sydney with the Sydney Symphony, Australia, not too long ago, and so that's definitely on my radar for the future season. So hopefully, very soon we'll be able to program something with guitar.
I would hope so. I love it.
Well, we'll hopefully we'll be able to please you. Thank you so much for your call, Josh. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Josh. Again, if you have a question for Tito, dial *3. The next caller up is Sandy. Sandy, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Tito, I wanted to know what your experience has been working with chorus, since we have great choruses here. What is your experience?
Hi, Sandy. Thanks for your question. Well, yes. I mean, we're going to open with the chorus, which is a wonderful chorus that you have here in Phoenix, and that we're going to be doing a lot with this season. Well, I have quite a bit of experience with several organizations: the Cincinnati May Festival, the Cleveland Orchestra Chorus, which I was on staff as a staff conductor with. I had opportunity to work with both choruses. The last time I was with the Cleveland Orchestra Chorus was a program that Pierre Boulez was supposed to conduct with the Symphony of Psalms, which I had to step in for him on, which was about a couple of years ago. But also in France, which I was music director of an opera house in Nancy, France, and we of course had a full-time chorus there that was doing the operas as well as the oratorios with the orchestra. So quite a bit of experience, and I'm actually looking forward to a lot of the programs that we're doing this year with the chorus. Not only Carmina Burana, but of course later on in the season we're doing the Kodai Salmos Hungaricus, we're doing the Schicksalslied, we're doing a lot of really wonderful things, and the of course, which is a wonderful piece for chorus. So I'm looking forward to that, and certainly looking forward to making more experiences for myself with the Phoenix Symphony course. Thank you, Sandy, for your question. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Sandy. Next up, I think we have a fun question. This is coming from William. William, are you on the line?
Yes.
Hi, William. How are you?
Good.
Good. Do you play an instrument, William?
I was playing the recorder.
The recorder. Are you learning that in school?
Yep.
Oh, that's great. What's your question, William?
What's the hardest musical instrument you've ever played?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, it's basically the only instrument I've ever played, actually, is the violin. Although I've played a couple of other little things sort of on the side, but the violin is my number one instrument, and it's definitely the hardest, without a doubt. Thanks for your question, William. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, William, for being on the phone with us. That's great. And if you'd like to ask Tito a question, please dial *3, *3. Okay. Next, let's take Sid. Sid, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. I wanted to know what we're doing to build an audience with liaisons to the schools all over the country. That is a problem. You've got Carmina Murana coming, which would be a perfect thing to use with world history classes, for instance. How are we connecting to our young people through the school systems?
Well, in Arizona, or rather in the Phoenix area, in the Valley, we're doing a lot to connect with students. We have a lot of instrumental groups that go into the schools throughout the year, very committed groups from the symphony who actually spend a lot of time working with the students in the schools, working on standards, with actually standard programs and standard academic subjects, but utilizing musical ideas and musical subjects to sort of enhance what they're learning in school already. And we also have, of course, school-time concerts where we bus many students in to actually see the orchestra in the hall. So we actually have quite a few really wonderful education programs that have been very effective. Jim, I don't know if you want to add to any of this as far as the programs that we're doing for the school.
Yes, Sid. The other thing that we are doing is a revolutionary program. We're the only American orchestra doing this, where we've gone into a pilot program with a charter school on 7th Street, ASU Prep, and we have developed a ground-up curriculum with their teachers there to use music to teach STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And we have put in place a quantitative measurement so we can statistically prove the impact our music is having on students' test scores and their AIM scores and everything else. And this is our third year in that pilot program. We've got a great database on that, and we're going to be expanding that as well. So we're doing a lot of unique and interesting things in the education arena. So thank you so much. That was a great question. All right, let's go to Patricia next. Patricia?
Yes, hi. Hi, Maestro. My name is Patricia, and I'm a violist for more decades than I care to count. And I've been playing in many orchestras, and I've noticed, sometime we have the viola section on the outside, right? You understand?
Correct.
And
right,
the
yes.
Side. More often than not, it seems to be the violas on the inside. What are your feelings about that? What are your personal preferences, and what has been your history with the different orchestras that you have just been all over the world with?
Well, that's actually a great question. It's funny you mention that, because that's actually a change that I have made for this season,
right.
which the violas will be on the outside and the cellos will be on the inside. They're going to switch places. I'm actually used to that setup more often than not. The Cleveland Orchestra, which is an orchestra that I was with for several years as assistant, sits this way. So it's first violins and second violins on the left, and then cellos, and then the violas on the outside on my right. And so that's the what I'm used to, and I want to experiment with that here also, just to see if that actually perhaps helps the sound in Symphony Hall for the strings. So you'll see that. But my experience also has been very, very varied throughout, all over the world. I've seen the sort of the Vienna style seating, which the violins are facing each other. So the first violins would be on my left, the second violins would be on my right, the cellos and basses would be on the left next to the first violins, and then the violas where they normally are on the right-hand side and the inside. This is actually very, very standard in Europe, and was standard until sort of the Hollywood era, where they decided to do something that looked a little bit more uniform, having all the violins all on the left and then the cellos on the right. So this idea of seating is something that a lot of orchestras, of course, do many different things. And some of it's for antiphonal effects, because some composers wrote for antiphonal things, to have the violins on either side, and some of it is just for the sound of the hall. Different halls have different sounds, and you kind of have to experiment a little bit. So that will be a change this year. So you will notice something a little different on stage. So thank you for your question. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Now let's go to Rena. Rena, are you with us on the phone?
I am on the phone.
Great, thank you. Go ahead.
Maestro, I was wondering what your thoughts were regarding the possibility of interviewing guests, soloists, and possibly some of the members of the Phoenix Symphony during intermission.
During intermission is a possibility. We do the pre-concert talks before the concerts, and that usually is sort of a get to know and a question and answer, and more often than not, it's with the guest soloist. I also have an idea of possibly talkbacks after the concerts. I'm going to explore a couple of different things, but one of the things that I had an idea was actually doing after the concerts, having a sort of a powwow with members of the audience and members of the orchestra or the guest artist to talk about what exactly happened during the concert, which I think would be a sort of a nice insight for the audience to hear and to see. So those are definitely possibilities, and intermissions, of course, another wonderful time to do that. But we do definitely have that already during the pre-concert talks before all of the classics concerts. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Let's go to David. David, are you on with us?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Hi. Tito, what was your introduction to the Phoenix Symphony? What was your first impression of the organization and ultimately the musicians that form the orchestra?
It's a great question. I had the opportunity to work with the orchestra twice before accepting the position here, and for both times, and of course, it's these kinds of auditions are very much a two-way street. I mean, they're looking at me and I'm looking at them, and I have to say, both times that I was here, there was, right away a very palpable energy and chemistry with the musicians, with the organization, with all the team members. It's a really, really special group. It's a special energy, and clearly a lot of really innovative and forward-thinking, very innovative things that are happening here. Things are going very well financially. This is a really exciting place to be, and that was a big part of the reason why I wanted to be here with this orchestra and take it on its sort of next journey. So I have to say, all positive. It was really a wonderful experience, and the orchestra's great. They're really full of wonderful musicians. You have such a wonderful group of artists working here, living here, teaching, and really enriching the community with their artistry. So thank you for that.
Thanks so much. Let's go to Olga. Olga, you're next up in the queue. Are you with us live?
Mr. Muñoz, congratulations, and we're very happy that you're here. What
Thank
do you
Olga.
think of Sir William Walton's Belshazzar's Feast, and is there any chance in the future you might consider doing it?
It's a great piece, actually. I have never done it myself, but it's something I definitely will consider. The Belshazzar's Feast is a really, it's of course one of William Walton's most famous pieces. I've done his Facade, I've done the Viola Concerto, but I've never done Belshazzar's Feast. So I will consider it, and hopefully you'll see it in a future season. Thank you for that.
Okay, let's now go to James. James, are you with us live? James, are you still here?
Yeah, my headset was a little messed up. So
no
first
problem,
of all, I wanted to commend you on a wonderful lineup this year. I'm so excited to hear the Mahler Symphony. It'll be the first time I've ever heard it live.
Oh, great.
And my son and I are going to the Carmina Burana on Friday. Looking forward to that.
Wonderful.
I noticed in the conference call here that a lot of people have been making suggestions, and I was just wondering if there is at this time, or would you consider maybe on the Phoenix Symphony website opening up a forum for people to put in some ideas or requests of music that could be performed in the future.
I think that's a great idea, actually, to have some input from the community. We're thinking about toying with some different ideas of actually really getting interactive with the audiences, even creating possibly a concert that is like sort of a you pick your favorites for us to play sort of thing. But this is something that I think is really important because, of course, we want to hear from you and we want to know what you guys think. So I think that's a really great idea and something that I want to consider very strongly because I do want to hear what you guys have to say. So I appreciate that suggestion, and I think we'll really strongly consider it. Thank you very much.
Okay, if you there's still time left. If you have a question for Tito, dial *3, and we're next going to go to Christoph. Christoph, are you on the phone?
Hey, Jim. Yes, how are you doing?
Good, Christoph. You're an insider. Christoph is the president of our Phoenix Symphony organization, Young Professionals. So, Christoph, go for it.
Okay, and obviously it's kind of like close to my heart, Tito, the question. First of all, welcome. I'm going to ask you. You representing a rather young conductor and music director, what are you going to do to really help us, the young professionals, to gain more professionals who are interested in the Phoenix Symphony, and what are your ideas to really just attract younger people? And I'm using the term younger loosely, okay? Everything between
Christoph, thank you so much for that for the question and for giving me the opportunity to speak about that because that's just something that, of course, it's on everybody's mind. It's something on my agenda that's really, really important. I think there's a lot of talk about this very subject. There's a lot of things going on around the industry about attracting young audiences. What exactly should we do? And there have been a lot of experiments. There have been a lot of orchestras trying very, very hard to really do that and to create this kind of thing. I think there are many, many things that we have to consider. We can talk about the economics. We can talk about the ticket prices, which of course are always an issue for young people. And what's amazing here in Phoenix with the Phoenix Symphony is that they have this wonderful student discount with the special student card that you can get for $30 at the beginning of the year, and you can get tickets for basically anything, any masterworks. You can just show up and get a couple of tickets just for that cost of that $30 card for the year, which I think is a really, really big step forward. The other thing also I think is rethinking what our offerings are and how we present the concerts. For me, the music is special. It'll always be special. I don't really think there's anything wrong with the music that we present, but I do think that there are a lot of barriers with the concerts themselves. Sometimes things can seem a little stuffy. A lot of etiquette, a lot of things that first-timers will not understand or might get confused about. And I think this is something that can be a hindrance to really attracting newer audiences, whether they're young or old, but just having newer people come to the symphony and stay, to really make them feel welcome, to make them feel like we appreciate them and that we interact with them. I think that's really, really important. We're even considering, just rethinking what we wear on stage, and all of these things that I think really make a big difference. And for myself, just to go out into the community and connect, through media, through appearances, and I think it's really important that people see that the orchestras, they're special, they're very unique, talented people, but they're also members of the community. They're also people that who are your neighbors, and I think that kind of message and the message that the orchestra is really part of the community is something that we need to just explore and get out. So. A lot of things, a lot of ideas, but hopefully we'll slowly be able to implement enough that we can really make a difference. So thank you, Christoph, for that question. I appreciate it.
All right. If you need to ask a question of Tito, please dial *3, and we're next going to go to Gail. Gail, are you with us on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Gail.
Hi. First of all, Maestro Muñoz, I would just like to say that I'm extremely excited to be speaking to you. I had no idea that this was going to happen until I read my email at 5:30 today. And
well, I'm happy you have the opportunity. This is great.
So am I, and I am so excited. My brother and I are going to be attending Carmina Burana on Saturday, and we are just looking forward to it so much, and we're so glad that you and the orchestra and the choruses are doing it. My question for you is, I play the violin. I would like to find out if you have any plans, or if you would consider making any kinds of plans to have community orchestra musicians maybe participate with the Phoenix Symphony in something. Anything
well,
would be exciting.
Yeah, it's funny. One of my one of the other conductors working right now at Marin Alsop in the Baltimore Symphony, she created a program there, which I admire very much, actually, and I would love to implement here in Phoenix, which is exactly that. It's actually, they call it the Academy. It's the Baltimore Symphony Academy, and it's basically a week-long academy having basically a side-by-side situation with the Baltimore Symphony and with community members who audition to play. And they do, it culminates in a performance, but there's coachings and sectionals, and it's a wonderful opportunity for the orchestra to really mingle with the community and get to know people and be able to share that with them. I admire that very much, and I do hope to be able to implement something like that here in Phoenix. So be on the lookout, because that's something that I would like to do. So thank you for that. I appreciate that question, and I look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Thank you for your support.
Okay, if you have a question for Tito, dial *3, and next we're going to go live to Jack. Jack, are you with us on the phone?
Good evening. How are you?
Good. How are you, Jack?
And welcome to Phoenix, and we love having you here.
Thank you.
As an active member of the Phoenix Board of Overseers and involved with education, I do remember years past, and I'm talking many years, I'm dating myself, where the Phoenix Symphony conductor on occasion would share the podium and conduct the Phoenix Youth Orchestra. I know that education is a key important issue for us growing forward in the Valley, and that would be something that hopefully we could look at, if not this year, certainly a season or so in the future.
Oh, I don't see why not. I mean, I would love to. That's right up my alley. It's what I do a lot with many student orchestras all over the world. Actually, I've done quite a bit of that. Yeah, absolutely, and I look forward to scheduling that, because that's something that I think is very, very special. Thank you for that.
Thanks a lot, Jack, and thank you for your support and commitment to us. Next, let's go to Clara. Clara, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go ahead and ask your question to Tito.
Okay. Maestro, I'm wondering what plans you have to add to the family series for the kids. For the last 4 or 5 years, I've been bringing my grandson, and I'm anxious to know what other programs you have for the kids.
Well, this year we have, which I'm sure you've seen already. We have on the docket the Halloween at Hogwarts program, and as well as the Polar Express. We're also doing a program in May called Eye of the Tiger, where we're doing sort of 80s adaptations of favorites that you might hear. It's sort of like a mixtape, but live with the orchestra. The theme from Ghostbusters, Born in the USA, things like that. It's kind of like a sports-themed concert. The Polar Express, which happens in November, is very similar to what we did last year, but it's a really wonderful journey with the Polar Express going to the North Pole. It's really wonderful for kids. And then before that, Halloween at Hogwarts, which is basically the music of Harry Potter, a few suites and a few things with narrator, with actors, with a lot of visuals. All of these are really, really wonderful interactive things for the kids. And, of course, we're going to expand on those for next year and try to find things that are very, very interactive and visually stunning. So I hope you enjoy what we do have this year, and look forward to programming for next year. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Claire. We appreciate that. Next up on the line, it looks like we have Kathleen. Kathleen, are you with us?
I am. Hi.
Go ahead, Kathleen.
My question is regarding the student outreach when you go out into the community. And is there any plans? I know there's a student orchestra, but in the outreach program, there's got to be some stars that shine. Is there ever a thought of maybe bringing them up on stage and performing with the symphony? I'm thinking
That's a great question. Yes, because I'm sure, as you say, I'm sure there are stars out there. I mean, we have the Phoenix Youth Symphony, which you just mentioned. We have a youth orchestra, and that the Phoenix Youth Symphony actually does a side-by-side concert with the Phoenix Symphony on an education concert. They get an opportunity to play along with the orchestra. And I know when the musicians go into the schools, they sometimes do also interact musically with the students and play next to them and sort of leading by example in a way. So we do have some things happening in that realm, and I'm sure we're going to explore them further. So thank you for that.
And if you have a question for Tito, dial *3. *3. We have a couple minutes left here, so if you'd like to ask Tito a question, *3. And Tito, I'm going to interrupt the queue for just a second, and if I can ask you a question. You talked earlier about coming here and playing with our musicians, and as we move forward, even past this season, can you talk some more about your thoughts on what we might be able to do and what we might be able to perform as we move forward with the 15-16 season and beyond?
Well, I'm looking forward to expanding the orchestra's repertoire in several avenues. I mean, I definitely love my conservative side and my sort of orchestral chop side. I really love the music of the classical period. So that's the music of Mozart, the music of Schubert, early Beethoven, Haydn. This music for me is some of the most special. It really it makes the orchestra listen to each other and be able to play in a chamber music way. So I really am looking forward to programming more of that kind of music. But also, one of the things that I cherish as a musician myself is versatility. When I was a freelance violinist in New York, I played just about every kind of style you could imagine. I mean, because you have to as a jobbing musician. So I played on Broadway. I've played in different kinds of bands. I played as a backup orchestra for pop artists. I've played in symphony orchestras and operas and ballet and all of that. And so I think all of those things are really, really important. And what's great is the Phoenix Symphony, of course, has a lot of that going on between their pops, their ballet, their opera. But I also want to see a sort of a diversity even in the masterworks, the classics series. I'd love to start bringing in some really, really special artists, special, even popular artists that really have a very substantive message to bring to audiences, and see if I can find ways to collaborate with the orchestra with those artists. Definitely bringing in fresh talent, fresh concerto soloists, young people. Those are all things that I really want to consider, and as well as young composers, because there's a lot of really great up-and-coming, really hip young composers that are coming out of many different parts of the world. Even in my neck of the woods in New York, so many Brooklyn area composers that are really doing very, very interesting things that I'd love to bring to Phoenix and introduce them. So you're going to hear from one at the end of this season, Adam Schoenberg, who's a very, very good friend of mine who just writes great, great music that's audiences really, really love. We're doing a piece of his that he's already written that I've done many, many times, but I look forward to a future collaboration with him and the Phoenix Symphony to see if we can start bringing new material and new work, to all of the audiences here.
Right. And Tito, before we jump back to the queue, I just have one other question for you. And how are you finding Phoenix? How do you like Phoenix so far?
It's fantastic. It's fantastically hot also. but it's really, really great. It's something I'm not used to. Even coming from New York, it's just a different thing. New York is kind of hot, but it's just so humid. Here, it's just really hot and very dry. But it's wonderful. I love the community. I love the people. Everyone's really, really warm and has been so nice and welcoming to me. And I get to see the orchestra finally this week, and so I'm looking forward to that. So far, it's been a really, really positive experience for me. So I'm happy, and I'm settled finally in a place, and I'm looking forward to just interacting with everybody here. So it's great.
Great. Okay, Tito, I think we've got time for another call here, and we're going to go live with Lynn. Lynn, are you with us?
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Jim and Tito, for doing this. This is a great interactive opportunity.
Oh, our pleasure, Lynn. Thank you for calling.
My wife and I had an opportunity over the past few summers to visit some other music festival type opportunities, and they have open rehearsals. I'm wondering if you would ever consider, or the symphony would allow patrons to periodically come in to observe what goes on during your rehearsal period.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, we actually do have a donor benefit to attend some of the rehearsals.
Yeah, there's a series of open rehearsals we have as a donor benefit. So absolutely. Absolutely,
yeah. So that's something that we do offer as a donation reward. So, but it's a wonderful thing, and I certainly have attended many orchestras in that forms and that fashion. It's definitely really great insights. So I hope you can look into that for the future. Thank you very much.
Well, everyone on the call, we're going to have to wrap it up here because Tito's moving on tonight to rehearse with the Phoenix Boys Choir to get ready for this Friday, the chorus, and so we're going to have to let him go. But I just want to thank all of you for your continued support, for your patronage, for hanging in there with us through thick and thin. And Tito, do you have any last thoughts before we hang up this evening?
Of course. Just to reiterate what Jim just said, just thank you, all of you, for being wonderful and supportive. And, one of the things that I always say about an orchestra, a great orchestra, is that an orchestra is only as great or as successful as the community that supports it. And so, with all of the good things happening with the Phoenix Symphony, it only goes to show how supportive and how wonderful its community is, and how wonderful its supporters are. And that's all of you. And so we're really, really happy that you are a part of our family, that I will be seeing you at these concerts, and I look forward to getting to know all of you throughout the year and throughout the coming years as we go on this new journey together. It's a really, really special time for the Phoenix Symphony. So thank you all very, very much, and I look forward to the future.
Well, Tito, thank you for taking the time to do this evening in your busy schedule, particularly this week. And we look forward to seeing all of you hopefully this weekend, an opening weekend. And please come up and say hello. Thank you so much for participating in this conference call this evening. We had a great response to it, and I'm sorry we couldn't get to everybody in the queue, but we got to as many of you as we could before Tito had to leave. So thank you all very much, and we look forward to seeing you. Goodbye.